the live visuals coming in. Dombivli, where we're seeing many effigies of Sanjay Raut at this point being burnt down by the Shinde camp supporters. Remember, it's not just the Thakre supporters of the Shiv Sena who are protesting, but even the Shinde supporters, Shinde camp supporters of the Shiv Sena, who are right now very angry with some of the comments made by Sanjay Raut. Sanjay Raut's effigy is being burnt in the Dombivli area. At this point, Sanjay Raut, of course, receiving flack from many of the Shiv Sainiks on ground for the comments that he made, calling these rebel MLAs as dead corpses, dead souls, and they will be, their dead bodies will come back to Mumbai. They're going to straight send those bodies to the assembly for post-mortem. These are the kind of idioms that Sanjay Raut really made at this point, not going down too well with the Shinde camp supporters. Quite clearly, insulting statements that were made. So far, what we saw was the Shinde camp. None of the MLAs spoke anything derogatory or against Uddhav Thackeray, particularly, or the Thackeray camp. It was all along only on the ideology that they were upset with. At this point, with Sanjay Raut making those points, it's really come across, it's not gone down well among the Shinde supporters who are now burning effigies of Sanjay Raut in the Dombivli area. Ashutosh joining us more on that. Ashutosh, over to you. What do you see right behind you? What's the sentiments of those Shinde camp supporters on ground?
Well, till day before yesterday, Nabila, we have seen Shiv Sainiks unleashing violence on Shinde supporters, and since yesterday we are seeing the Shinde camp is also showing their strength. So in these images you're seeing Eknath Shinde's son, who's a member of parliament from Thane district, Shrikant Shinde, marching out with his supporters to the Samadhi of Anand Dighe, the veteran Sena leader, and who was very close to Bala Saheb Thackeray. Anand Dighe is the political guru of Eknath Shinde, and this show of strength that you're seeing, in fact, what we're hearing that Eknath Shinde supporter group also burned effigy of Sanjay Raut. Remember, Sanjay Raut has been really very vocal on the rebels, including Eknath Shinde. And today what you're seeing, the show of strength in Thane. Thane is the bastion district of Eknath Shinde. Anand Dighe, who was looking after this entire, one of the largest districts of Maharashtra, and his legacy was followed by Eknath Shinde. But now, since we are seeing the rebel, here it is a show of strength. In fact, day before yesterday, he also hit the street with the supporters. And today you're seeing these live march visuals from Anand Ashram, the permanent residential address of Anand Dighe. And from there, they're marching to the Samadhi Sthal of Anand Dighe. And that is the show of strength you're seeing in Thane, in Maharashtra. Dombivli, the supporters burned the effigy of Sanjay Raut. And that's the full battle of optics that you're seeing, because when it comes to the legislative or the legal battle, the final word will, of course, the court will have the final verdict. But for now, it is also over the control, the party, that who controls the party. Remember, Uddhav Thackeray calling the national executive, where all the powers to take action was handed over to Uddhav Thackeray. And clearly, when such a situation comes, there will be further challenge for Eknath Shinde. But if you have this annex, remember, first it was Uddhav Thackeray appealing to the workers. There you saw Eknath Shinde, issuing emotional appeal. So clearly, unless you reach out to the cadre, and remember the Shiv Sena, which is a party of cadre with an ideology driven and revolves around Bala Saheb Thackeray's political legacy and his image. So clearly, when the stakes are high, the full optics, and particularly the cadre, which is really important for both the Uddhav Thackeray camp and the rebel camp. So let's try to have a word from Shrikant Shinde, who's a member of parliament from Thane district. Shrikant, Shiv Sena किसकी होगी? श्रीकांत, शिवसेना किसकी होगी जिस तरह की लड़ाई हम देख रहे हैं? आपका डिमांड क्या है?
शिवसेना जो है वो बाला साहब ठाकरे जी की है, और हम जो है वो शिवसैनिक आज भी इतने बड़े पैमाने पर जो है वो शिवसैनिक यहाँ पर आए हैं और हम लोग सभी लोग आज जो है दिघे साहब के समाधि पर जो है वो दर्शन कर रहे हैं।
बगावत का अंत कहां तक होगा? आखिर ये लड़ाई जाएगी कहां तक?
बगावत नहीं है, ये लोगों को जो चाहिए वो महाराष्ट्र के जो लोगों को चाहिए, जनता को चाहिए, वो जो है वो आज एकनाथ शिंदे साहब के नेतृत्व में जो है वो सभी एमएलए लोगों ने किया है।
आपने श्रीकांत शिंदे को सुना, ठाणे जिला से सांसद हैं और एकनाथ शिंदे के बेटे हैं। काफी कम उम्र में जो उन्होंने नेतृत्व पिता की विरासत को आगे संभाला है। देखा आपने सीधे सीधे जवाब दिया कि ये बगावत नहीं है, ये एक विरासत को आगे ले जाने की लड़ाई है, लेकिन अब ये वर्चस्व की लड़ाई बनती है। और जब ऐसी लड़ाइयां होती हैं तो कानून से ज्यादा, विधानसभाओं से ज्यादा ऐसी लड़ाइयां सड़क पर मिलती है। There you heard Gaurav, the son of Eknath Shinde. Clearly, these are the massive support that you're seeing in Thane, and this has to be because remember, all his through the life, Eknath Shinde worked for the people. Remember what we hear from the people here who are very close to Shiv Sena and the Sakas, where largely whenever there was some need, it was always Eknath Shinde who stood for them, and that's exactly why he has that support at the grassroots, at the cadre. But what is main concern also largely what we're hearing amongst the Shiv Sainik, that they are still apprehensive because they could be staunch supporter of Eknath Shinde in their personal capacity, but largely being at the cadre of Shiv Sena, what it matters then there is ultimately some sort of confusion and the apprehension that who will lead the party, what will be the future, is there a leadership crisis? Because remember, if they are seen today with one camp and if there is a further change in the, this entire picture, then clearly they face that there could be, because all the cadre at last they have certain political ambition, so that giving them some dilemma amongst the cadre, and largely that you see the millions of the supporters, you only barely see few hundred siding, be it the Uddhav Thackeray camp or the Eknath Shinde. There are only in few hundred numbers are coming out on the streets, engaging into protest against each other from the camp. That exactly picture you have seen from Uddhav Thackeray camp.
At this point, we do know that the Shinde Sena has been requesting for additional security deployment for their family members. In fact, Shrikant Shinde's offices, we believe, were vandalized. He was threatened by many of the Shiv Sainiks resting their allegiance with the Thackeray clan. At this point, what's the mood that you see around there? Do you see additional police deployment around Shrikant Shinde, Eknath Shinde's son?
Absolutely, absolutely. He is totally being guarded by Maharashtra police personnel. In fact, this was very difficult in the march to even reach him out. And just not Eknath Shinde, all the rebels and Mlas have been provided security. In fact, yesterday when I visited his camp office in Ulhasnagar, despite after the violence, perhaps now it is being guarded. So there's a massive security. If you see all the Shiv Sena Sakas which are controlled under Eknath Shinde, these the family members, and he's being also the member of parliament. You just have a glimpse of the security periphery that Eknath Shinde is enjoying. Look at that. So there you see at least 8 to 10 security personnel from Maharashtra police are guarding. So that's the kind of arrangement, because if there are any mishappening, any expenditure happens, clearly there will be total onus and blame on the Uddhav Thackeray government. And of course, the kind of violence they have seen from the Shiv Sainik, there was a blame game massively, and the government was on back foot. And that's clearly now the learn you heard from the Home Minister Dilip Walse Patil, also the DGP of Maharashtra, that adequate security arrangements are. So that's not to be seen really a matter of concern at the moment, because they have learned the lesson, and post-violence we are seeing those kinds of arrangements. But other side, that's the political battle that's playing with its full speed here on the street of Thane. And these, the one of the largest districts where you have Kalyan, Dombivali, Ulhasnagar, so multiple municipal corporations as well. As this being larger district, you will see the supporters soon, because what we're hearing in Dombivali, Effigy of Sanjay Raut was burned. Here this march is already in these live images. So clearly the Shinde faction of Shiv Sena and the Shiv Sainik, the local, in fact one of the local district president of Shiv Sena also tendered the resignation, and subsequently Shiv Sena also fired him. So, all are trying to mobilize. Remember, the party like Shiv Sena, it only thrives on the cadre's strength.